back in the HAFTR Media Labs with our producer, Zach Newmark. We are learning the Sefer Pituchei Chotam from Rabbi Yakkov Teaches Tzaddik v'Kodesh Levracha. It is Parshas Kisavai, and there's a pasuk in this week's parsha, which, if you think about it, it is like mind-blowing. V'ro chol amei haaretz. All of the nations of the land will see ki Shem Hashem nikra alecha, that the name of Hashem is upon you. V'yaru mimeka, and they will fear you. That's a pretty bold statement. We can have the Shem of Havaya. The Shem Havaya is like the ultimate name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The world's created with Yud Kei Vav Kei. That's like everything. Ki Shem Hashem, and that name is upon us, Yidden. And then when that happens, V'yaru mimeka. They fear. There's fear. There's an awe of the Jewish people, which makes sense if you have the Shem Hashem nikra alecha. So Rabbi Yakkov gives us a few eitzes, how we can experience this, how we can bring ourselves to such a state. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a gewaldige gift called teshuvah, which is necessary, because what an avera does is more than just the fact that we don't do what Hashem wants. It has much more of an effect on us, on the world. And in a very deep sense, it actually has an effect on the Shem Havaya itself. Pasuk tells us, Nirgan mafrid aluf. Nirgan is someone who's quarrelous. Rashi says, Rigunai v'tarumasai, because of his lashon hara, his complaints. He's mafrid, he separates. Aluf, separates from a friend. Rashi says it's much deeper than that. He's a mafrid, he separates from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When a person does averis chas v'shalom, he separates himself from Hashem, and on a deeper sense, Rabbi Yakkov teaches us, based on the Zohar, that he actually divides and splits up the Shem Hashem itself. You take the word aluf, it can be broken into Aleph Lamed and Pei Vav. Aleph Lamed is the Shem of Kel, which is the Shem of Chesed. Pei Vav is the gematria of Elikim, the Shem of Din. When through a person's averis, he splits up the name Hashem. He splits up aluf. And all of a sudden, Chesed and Din are separate. Kutsha Baruch Hu Shchinte are separated. There's a division between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and a Shechina. In the name of Hashem itself, the Yud Kei Vav Kei, there are two Heys in that name. And those Hey, on the last Hey of Hashem's name represents Malchus, which is our world. That's the Shechina. And an Avera divides up Yud Kei Vav and the Hey. And on a deeper sense, it divides between the Yud and the first Hey, between Chachma and Bina. There's hafrada, there's a disconnect that occurs because of an Avera. And what does Teshuvah do? Teshuvah is Tashuv Hey. Tashuv allows us to reconnect the Hey in Hashem's name. Teshuvah, Rabbi Yakkov says, stands for Rashi Tevas Tikun Shechina, fixing Shechina, which is the final Hey of Hashem's name, the Tikun Bina, which is the first Hey of Hashem's name. That is Teshuvah. So when a Yid does Teshuvah, he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want to come back to you, and I want to fix up all those mistakes I made. I know I divided you and your Shechina. I divided Kutsha Baruch Hu Shechinte, and I concealed your expression in this world. Through Tshuva, we're able to bring that back. Tefillin represents, the Tefillin Shel Yad represents the Shechina. It's the action, HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this world. The Tefillin Shel Rosh represents Kutsha Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a higher sense. When a Yid puts on Tefillin, he's being miyachid, he's connecting. When he puts on his Tefillin Shel Yad and his Tefillin Shel Rosh, he's connecting Kutsha Baruch Hu u'Shchinte. So Shechina, through Tefillin, is another way where we connect, where we do tshuva, where we unite again the Shem Hashem. Tefillin is a gematria 580. HaYetzer Hara is a gematria 580. By Tefillin, we're able to knock out the Yetzer Hara with taikah for strength. And we create a unification of Hashem's name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. And then we can experience V'ro Kol Amei Haaretz Ki Shem Hashem nikra alecha. When there's a unification of the Shem Hashem through tshuva, when there's a unification of the Shem Hashem through Tefillin, then B'yaru mimeka, the Gemara dashens that the Shem Hashem nikra alecha is referring to the Tefillin. We have another pshat Rabbi Yakkov tells us, and what it means to have the Shem Hashem nikra alecha. The Ramban says, you know what the Shem Hashem is? Oid yesh be'edeinu Kabbalah shel emes is the Ramban, the beginning of the Torah. Kabbalah shel emes remains through Kabbalah, real Kabbalah. We have in our hands ki kol ha-Torah kula, the entire Torah, shmoisav shel Kadosh Baruch Hu, are names of Hashem. Torah, when a person acquires Torah, that's the Shem Hashem he's acquiring. The Gemara tells us, Amar Avdimi, Barchama kol ha-Isaac b'Torah. Anybody who is Isaac in Torah really learns Torah. Bunch of things the Gemara says. Rava says, B'tchila nikra sal shmai shel Kadosh Baruch Hu. When you learn Torah at first, it's called Hashem's Torah. Ul b'seif nikras al shmai. But then it's called a person himself. It's called his own Torah. And that comes from the pasuk Yim b'teres Hashem cheftzai. If a person learns Hashem's Torah, u'b'terasa yage yomam v'layla, and in his Torah he toils day and night. In the beginning, it's Teres Hashem, but after a person toils in Torah, it becomes his Torah. Torah, again, is 611. Samael and Lilas, which is the Sitra Achra. The other side is also Gematria 611. So if a person takes the Torah and he makes it his, he's Isaac and Torah Lishma. So then he becomes the Shem Hashem because Torah is called upon his name. He himself becomes the Shem Hashem. When a person sees a Yid who's Isaac and Torah, he sees a Yid ki Shem Hashem nikra alecha, where the Shem Hashem is upon him. And that could be through tshuva, it could be through tefillin, and it could be through learning Torah. V'yarim Mecca, they're scared, they run away from him. And that scare, that's the Yitzhar, leaves him alone. And Amaratzim, the Klipas, the Sitra Achra, they're scared. So as we are getting ready for Rosh Hashanah, we are being mechazik in tshuva, we're being mechazik in the mitzvah of tefillin, we're being mechazik in our limud Torah. These things bring that when we can stand up straighter, we can sit up straighter because the Shem Hashem is nikra alecha, the Shem Havaya that the world is created with is upon you. V'yarim Mecca, everything will be in awe of you, and will be zecha to a gavaldige Yom Adin. Have a wonderful Shabbos.